This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Let's bring our guy Tom Murphy into the conversation. He's covered college athletics for a long time. Tom, we're talking about these recent stories where college teams, coaches, players being investigated. Iowa's now the kind of the hotbed of this. What are your reactions when you're reading these headlines now?
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, my first reaction is that the betting authorities are quicker to pick up on trends and weird things like you guys were just talking about, tracking apps, than let's just say the NCAA is to responding to other, NIL concerns or whatever. I think when the money's involved, there's a lot more authority out there that is monitoring and can pick up on weird trends and things like that. So, yeah, I was just reading about it because I heard you guys talking about it. And, what I really hope with Brad Bohannon is that he had a buddy, that they've been buddies for a long time, and he just in touch with him on the daily, and he just said this, yeah, man, my pitcher can't go today. He's got a tight back. And the dude just goes and thinks that's easy money and makes a big wager. I really hope that's what happened there and nothing beyond that.
Here's the thing that I think we should all take away, fellas, is if they can detect and figure this out in college baseball, believe you me, they're all over college basketball and college football and everything else under the sun that would be in a much higher volume. So if this is noticeable, any kind of irregularity in a sport like college baseball that has very low volume, Tom, I got to believe you're not going to get much by them when it really counts.
Yeah, and I hope you're right there. Or, I think you're onto something there. But the volume of the wager, I guess, in Cincinnati is what kind of put the antenna up and then led to the conclusion.
So if this story came out in Arkansas, Tom, if there was a student athlete on campus or a couple that were involved in this, how do you think fans would react to that?
Well, it just kind of depends on what they're betting on. I mean, if it's just general, because people have these apps on their phones, and I've talked to some people who have them, and it's just like, man, it's just fun. It's like a daily, you're invested in something. And during basketball, when you got games every night, it's just, I don't know, it's an adrenaline rush, I guess. So, I don't know. It depends on, like you guys were just talking about. It's the game fixing where people really get upset. And I would not be happy if there was something like that going on.
Tom, I know there's Arkansas fans out there that are betting on the idea that Arkansas is going to host not just for a regional, but a super regional and get top 8 seed. They've got 2 top 5 matchups remaining in the RPI and 2 top 10, and again in the poll as well. How do you feel about Arkansas's chances these next 2 weekends following the games against South Carolina and Vanderbilt being a top 8 national seed?
Yeah, I think if they can win the South Carolina series, let's just say they go 3-3. And they win 2 of 3 against South Carolina and lose 2 of 3 to Vandy. I think that ought to do it. South Carolina hurt itself with the sweep last weekend against Kentucky, and I was telling you guys last week that if all things were equal, that the South Carolina-Arkansas winner would be in great shape for the first 8. Now that that's happened, I think South Carolina might be out of the mix, and so the Razorbacks, just by winning that South Carolina series, you're going to get a great RPI boost just by going and playing Vanderbilt. So your RPI is not really going to move much of anywhere. And it's not like last season where, their RPI wasn't as good at this stage, even though their record was very similar. So I don't know. I feel very confident in a seed, top 16, and then in a top 8. It's looking good, but you don't want to go 1-5 and then lose out at the conference tournament. That might drop you out.
Yeah. So Kentucky's number 1 in the RPI. How confident are you that Kentucky will be a top 8 national seed with 2 weeks to go?
Well, not so much, but the RPI does play into it a lot, and they've got some nice series wins. I mean, sweeping last week was a good momentum builder for them. I'm not sure who they have left, but there's obviously a chance. I mean, if they go 5-1 down the stretch and do some damage in Hoover, they could argue their way right into that mix.
Tom Murphy with us here Tuesdays and Thursdays on the Morning Rush. Arkansas with South Carolina, like you said, this weekend. We all thought it would be the Tennessee series that may decide a lot of things in the SEC. Tom, we were off a few weeks. It's this weekend that's really the most important of all the weekends at Baum Walker.
It's a huge one, and I tell you, I wrote about this for today, just how they have managed to win these games with some of their biggest bats out, with a weekend starter out for the season, with Tiger missing as much time as he did, Cody Frank being injured, lost for the year, battling, irregular performances from several relievers. I mean, when you think that Zach Morris has only recently rounded into the shape he showed last year when he was such a key part, and then, you got some other guys who, they haven't had the innings because they haven't been as consistent. And they still managed to win these games and sweep Mississippi State. Now, they did look like the Bad News Bears out in the field, Mississippi State, but still, you had to outscore them, in the one game, and they did that. The way they're stacking McIntyre and Tigert right now, I think if you go into a weekend and you know that you're going to get starts out of Hagen Smith and Hunter Holland, and then you can do that stacking deal, then you just sort in the Cody Adcocks and the Gage Woods and the Christian Fouches and Morris and these other guys behind them. That's a pretty decent strategy, even though you're running a little short on arms. And they made it work last weekend. They expect that Hunter Holland would be better from the shin splints come this weekend, and maybe he can get back to the form he showed earlier in the year. And give them a few more innings, and then maybe, just maybe, you get Josenberger and you get Wagner back, and then down the stretch, you could be as strong as you've been all season, and then you have guys who have come off the bench who've helped you get big wins, like Peyton Holt and Grimes and Jason Jones and these guys, and they're more confident when they go to the plate. So it's shaping up to be pointing in the right direction to the postseason for Razorbacks.
Tom, good stuff. We'll hopefully see you at the ballpark this weekend, and we'll talk to you on Thursday.
You will. All right. Take care. See y'all.
BetOnline.ag is your number one source for all your basketball info, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest player reports for this year's pro basketball playoffs. BetOnline is always your sports information headquarters this season, as we have you covered for all your sports wagering needs. Basketball, MLB, NHL hockey, right down to UFC and boxing. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games you can play right from your home. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use our promo code BELIEVE to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's BLEAV. BLEAV. Bet online, where the game starts.